Well, the Simpich family has gone to the dogs today in lots of ways. Actually, we have our Yorkshire Terriers here with us. This is Miss Susie and Remy, and she's been a little under the weather and has been to the vet, and we have to go back and pick up some medicine in a little while. But we've been thinking about Simpich Dogs today, and actually there's quite a history with canines that started way back in the 1960s, actually the year that I was born. My parents got a dachshund named Heidi, and that was our family pet. And my dad, sometime shortly after I was born, designed this sculpture of Heidi. And this was the dog that I grew up with. She was born a little ahead of me, and she lived till I was 15 or 16 years old. So we were good friends, and she was a beloved pet. And my dad and mother did not put that sculpture into production to sell. It was just something he did for the family. So we've always cherished that and have it in our museum. So that was kind of the beginning of having portraits or sculptures of dogs. Now, I have my wife Debbie here with me today, and she's going to share quite a bit about her contributions to the history of the Simpich dogs. But after 1961 with Heidi, there was a pause until the 80s when my dad designed the very first caroler dog. Now, this guy didn't really have a name, but he kind of wanted to have a dog that could be there with the caroler set. And this was in 1984. And so he was put into production a little bit. We don't know exactly how many were made of this particular design, certainly not as many as of the ones that were to come. Now in 1985, a dog appeared with Yankee Doodle Dandy, a sculpture my dad did. Wanted to have him standing there with a dog. And then in, a little bit before that actually, we're going back to 1984, Debbie designed a Yorkshire Terrier for my mother.
Yes.
And I have a photograph here of my mother holding Katie. And Katie was a beloved dog in our family. And Debbie, did you do it as a Christmas present?
We did it as gifts. I did Katie for Jan. And then at that time...
Was it the same time?
Same time, I did a Saskia, which was their caissonne.
Right, and that was for Dad.
Yeah.
Right, and here's a picture of Saskia. And this was the first time that Debbie had really attempted to do sculpture, and my parents loved these. They thought they were just wonderful. And actually, it wasn't long after that they decided to ask Debbie to design a dog to actually go with the carol. Actually, no, excuse me. This one is designed to go with...
Well, Merry Christmas. People had been asking, because she was a single doll, and customers had been asking, well, Merry Christmas needs a companion. And Jen didn't really want to try to do a little boy to go with her, so they asked me if I would do a little Scotty dog named McGregory.
Yes, and she was really getting into the sculpture at this time, and my parents were encouraging her and very impressed with what she was doing. And this is actually, McGregory is his name. And she actually started a little business around this time. So after she designed Katie and Saskia and McGregory, she started doing dog commissions. And you found this little book, and tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah, people would it started when we lived in Issaquah and had the extended doll shop in Issaquah. And people would either mail pictures of their pets or they would bring them by, and then I would try to do a sculpture of their dog based on their pictures and try to get a characteristic pose the dog would do.
Right, so these are some of the ones. I don't think they're all here.
No.
This one's always been my favorite.
Yeah.
She did that for... Issaquah is a little town up close to Seattle in Washington, and one of our employees had this wonderful Irish setter, and Debbie did this, probably my favorite one other than Yorkshire Terriers, but one of my favorite portraits. And around the same time, she did do another Yorkshire Terrier, a little duet here It's actually a magnet, and she gave this as a present to my mother, which was on her refrigerator for many, many years, of 2 little Yorkshire Terriers there. And so you continue doing that until from 85 until I have here 1994. It was kind of a sideline thing.
Right, very definitely.
As we were starting to have children and raise our family. And I don't know how many dogs you did. Do you have any idea? We kind of lost track.
Count. Yeah.
So anyway, that was a wonderful side. And see, she's always loved dogs, just always loved dogs.
Yep.
And so it was a great little enterprise for her. Now in 1986, it's a lot of dates here, kind of the progression. We have Rumpus. And my dad sculpted this guy. And he is a portrait of a bulldog that my mother's family had during the 1940s into the 1950s. And this is an actual photograph of Rumpus, a beloved family pet. And he was put into production. He's not really in proportion to go with any other doll exactly. He's kind of just a single piece, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
But a wonderful piece. I've always thought he was just wonderful. Okay, we have first caroler dog here, and then in 80s, he was 84. And then in 1987, the actual official Dicken's dog was designed by my dad and put into production. Very popular. He'd be right there with the caroler set, and he was painted many different ways. We particularly like the white with the black spots here, but he was black and he was kind of a burnt sienna color, kind of a brown, and a very popular dog. And then in 1990, my parents asked Debbie, go ahead and show that piece.
Yeah, this was our first dog we had when we first got married was a Cairn Terrier, and his name was Mr. Dickens. And so they asked if I would want to do another dog, and I thought, and since my mother loves Cairn Terriers, as a matter of fact, they adopted Mr. Dickens because Mr. Dickens became my dad's dog.
Yes.
But anyway, this was called the Two Terriers. And he was painted in white like a Westie, or in browns or blacks like
Wonderful
a Cairn
piece.
Terrier.
And people use that with their caroler set. Now, so we have my dad sculpting dogs, we have Debbie sculpting dogs, and then my brother got into the act. My brother Reg designed a big yeller dog and the Shanghai rooster, which is actually part of a folk song about sweet Betsy from Pike. And we have those dolls too. I mean, the dolls were produced by the Simpich family, and my brother designed those. Of course, he had to have the dog and the rooster, so that was my brother's contribution. And those dolls, the Sweet Betsy from Pike set, was done in limited numbers for quite a few years, beginning in 1995. So we have my dad, we have Debbie, we have my brother, and then I joined into the act one time with Dorothy and Toto. Toto was my launching out, as far as the dolls go, creating an actual canine. So here we have Dorothy with Toto, and that was 1996.
Well, and you sort of did a sort of canine when you did the wolf head for Little Red Riding Hood and the wolf.
That's true, if you want to count the wolf. Yes, the wolf from Little Red Riding Hood, and that was kind of close to that time also. Wasn't thinking about him. A lot of canines here. My dad redesigned the Dickens dog in what year is it, honey?
1996.
1996, and I'll take his little tag off and show you Dickens 2. Very popular. A little bit different stance here. And he was designed to go with the carolers. So actually, if they had Dickens 1, they would sometimes get Dickens 2 and have several dogs there with the caroler set and the Christmas dolls. So then, moving on, my mother's contribution to the canine world came in what year, honey?
It came in 2003.
Yes. We have Nicky, who is one of the Cobblestone kids. And my mother designed the little puppy that he's holding. They decide, I remember the meetings they would have discussing, what new characters could be doing. And she had really been wanting to do a set of little children she wanted to call the Cobblestone Kids. And they go, well, you have to give one a puppy. And so she designed this little puppy for him to hold. And then my dad's contribution, if you can reach over there and get that, was a whole little wagon that goes with Nicky, full of puppies. And to this day, this wagon of puppies is a very hard to get piece from Simpich. And they did it, and it went gangbusters. People just loved that piece. And then of course there's the other Cobblestone Kids that could be a part of that set too. But a wonderful piece with the puppies in the wagon. And then, that was in 2004 that we had the puppies in the wagon. Then my dad designed McNair and Friend in, what year's that?
2004.
2004. Wonderful piece to go along with the Caroler set. And we're going to do more about him in another video, but we'll just suffice to say, this is McNair and this is Friend. Yes. And then I think, probably with so many dogs, we're probably forgetting somebody. But I know that one last dog that my dad did was when the business was closing in 2000. Well, they announced their retirement in 2005, closed the doors in 2007. In 2006, they designed the end of the line Santa. And he has a dog there with him, and the Santa's holding a caboose, and my dad just wanted to have a dog there. Wonderful sculpture there. Now, along with all the wonderful sculptures that my wife has done of dogs through the years, she also has done other special things for me, and I think we were expecting our second grandchild in 2015, and Debbie had to be down in Texas for several months, and she worked on some illustrations that she gave to me as ornaments. Now I have since framed them, and she did a Yorkshire Terrier dressed up as a clown performing in a circus. We both love the circus, and she presented these to me for my birthday, 3 different clown or Yorkshire Terrier circus illustrations. 2 of them are clowns, and I just loved these. And she had no idea that it was going to inspire a whole special project for me. In 2017, I decided to do a little bit smaller scale marionette show that would feature Yorkshire Terriers. Certainly these guys have helped out with that project. Yorkshire Terriers performing in the circus, inspired by her illustrations. And I designed a special circus marionette production called Tinker Yorkie Spree's Fantabulous Suitcase Circus. And the episode 1 is available right now to see online. You can actually see the whole performance, and we did that in our theater. And actually very different style of show from my main stage shows. I was kind of out with the audience. I portrayed Yorkie Spree, who was a clown, and had some wonderful Yorkshire Terrier marionettes. So it went full circle. With coming back to with the marionettes too. So,
and you can see the marionette characters in our Heritage Center.
Yes, we have the circus on display there. So we've gone to the dogs this afternoon. It's a dog day afternoon, and I'm sure we're forgetting somebody, but you can see how important canines are to my family. And I suppose if you were to think of this as a dog show, who would be the winner? I'll help. I think it would be these guys. It would be the actual dogs that have inspired the sculptures, because they've been such an important part of our family. They're just there by our sides through many. I think of all the shows and sculptures I've done where there's been a little puppy by my feet, helping me out, and my parents same way. And all those years they had the doll shop. My mother's Yorkshire Terriers and my dad's Caissons would come to work.
Yep, and sing at the birthday parties for the shop workers every month.
Sing at the parties. So anyway, we've been excited to share all these wonderful sculptures with you. And like I said, it's a sort of a dog day afternoon today. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.